The TSW Round Table is a proud member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Follow at SW Commonwealth on Twitter and take your first steps into a larger world.
Hello there.
You want the bad news?
Roger, roger.
The Force. It's calling to you.
This is not going to go the way you think.
Now you will experience the full power of the dark side. That's not how the Force works.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
This is madness.
Let the past die. Kill it.
It's a trap! Fulfill your destiny. No!
Live from Flannel Beaver Studios, it is a TSW Round Table. It's a Saturday night in Canada, well, mostly Canada, in North America, I should say. And we're all stuck at home. And we have this COVID-19 thing to deal with. So myself and a few gentlemen I'm going to introduce in a second are going to hang out at the TSW Round Table. We're social distancing, but we're kind of hanging out online. And we're doing the whole live stream so you guys can join us. So real quick, I'm not alone tonight. If you're watching the live stream, right underneath me directly, which is not done on purpose, it just happened that way, my good buddy all the way from Alberta, Tim from the Nerd Room. Say hi, Tim.
What's going on, everyone? Hope everyone is staying safe, staying home, and staying nerd.
Staying nerd. Welcome back, Tim. Yeah, we've potted a lot. So we are no stranger to this, but and also returning to the round table, he's one of the founding members of the Star Wars Commonwealth, I believe. If you're looking on the bottom row, right to my left, Rob X. Say hi to everybody, Rob.
Hey, everybody. How you guys doing?
Good. So, Generation X-Wing podcast. So we have we're representing Talk Star Wars, the Nerd Room, Generation X-Wing, but it wouldn't be a proper roundtable if we didn't have a night. So if you look at the chat window and you're looking directly to my left, our Knight of the Commonwealth from, I believe it's the Chicago area. I don't want to pinpoint it. I'll give it his exact address later to anybody that wants it. Rick, welcome to the roundtable. First appearance, I believe, right?
Thank you. It's great to be here in my bedroom, but with you guys. So it's not strange at all.
No, it's great to be. I'm sure you've always had three Canadian dudes hang around your bedroom, right? Like this isn't a new thing, or is this?
This is a like wish fulfillment. So, Cheers. And
the great part about it, we're all medically covered, so we're good to go, right? Like we're fine
for now.
For now, yeah. Now we've ruined that. So, again, this is. We've been dipping into retrospectives throughout the movies. We have a Rogue One retrospective coming up. Rick, I believe you're penciled in for that one. But this is kind of a hangout on a Saturday night. And basically, what have you been doing lately? It's kind of a Star Wars feel. So I'm going to start it off with Tim. We have a lot going on. Now, I'll let you pick up. We've had Rise of Skywalker just dropped suddenly on digital download. Clone Wars is out. We've had how are you binging? Are you keeping busy during this self-isolation business? So the floor is yours.
Well, man, it's been an interesting few weeks, that's for sure. We've been here in Alberta, we've been on kind of lockdown for almost 2 weeks with the family here, and not a quarantine, but we're just social distancing, doing the right thing here, flattening that curve, if you will. And we have been really focusing in on catching up on things and really doing Star Wars, getting back into it in a real way. One, comics is where I've been really hanging out a lot. We used to do the TSW comics, and that kind of fell by the wayside when I had a kid and all that. And maybe someday we'll get back at it. Maybe this is a perfect opportunity. But the comics have been great. The Rise of Kylo Ren ended on a little bit of a slow note, but it was a fantastic, fantastic book. The Vader book, Rick just threw that up, man. Another great book. Really interesting stuff going on there. Bounty Hunters, just read that. Rick, look at this guy go. It's great. It's got that Mando vibe. I'm absolutely loving that. And then the Star Wars run by Charles Soule. What do you got? Oh, Son of Dathomir, come on, picking up after Clone Wars. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, Rick. Well cued, man. And Clone Wars, of course, man. I've been doing that week by week. I wasn't a huge Clone Wars guy, but I'm loving what they're putting on screen here. And just how Filoni's come back in a big way. Clone Wars come back in a big way. And then even Rise of Skywalker. Look, I know people are all over this movie again. The novelization, the release. Now we have it all in front of us. I don't have a copy yet. I'm waiting for that steelbook. Sanjay has hooked us up, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we get them. But I'm looking forward to taking a deep dive back into that. And then always, guys, you can see behind me here, we've got the collection, the action figures, and all that. The hunt's going to be slow for the foreseeable future, but it was really great getting my hands on some of those last few items before everything went into lockdown. Toys R Us is closed here. Everything, Lego store, no matter what, like it's all non-essential is pretty much closed out here in Alberta. So even though the world is slowing down, my Star Wars is probably as high as it's ever been. All facets that they're delivering in, I think have been fantastic. Everything from the toys, the comics, TV, film. I love the Rise of Skywalker. I'm one of those guys. I'm proud to be one of those guys. And so I'm going to continue to wave that flag. So that's what I've been doing.
Fantastic. And I'm surprised the hunt isn't essential.
I wish it was, but
okay, it's
there's an email from Toys R Us that said,
not essential. I should mention real quick, if you're watching the live stream, we have the 4 windows. We have the one at the bottom, and that's for you guys. So if you're following on the Roman Podcast or my personal Facebook feed, if you're anything you write on there, it's gonna pop in on the chat. Well, I have edit control, so easy. So anyway, Grabs just jumped in. He says, "Don't mention hardcovers. Let's not reach muscle fatigue." So, we're gonna go take it slow. So, Rob X,
hello.
What do you feel in your self quarantine time with a Star Wars related?
Star Wars related. It's funny because I'm by myself for the next week here. And I'm just kind of, my son's with his mom. And so I've got a week by myself and I'm trying to figure out what to do. And so I'm not trooping. At this very moment, I should be in Victoria doing my year anniversary for becoming a 501st member. And obviously it's not happening. So I grabbed the bucket this morning. And I saw some people in Italy do this little video, 501st people in Italy do this little video about just what they do in their time at home. And a bunch of us at the Outer Rim Garrison are doing the same. But I decided to take a little further because I'm just bored. So I grabbed the bucket and I'm just doing a day in the life of a trooper. Silly things like sleeping, taking a shower. You don't see that. No. Running out of toilet paper, all that weird little stuff. And I'm just goofing around because I got to do something. And in the back of my attic crawl space, sorry, I had taken some old boxes from my ex-wife's house, which I had to take out of the attic. Right. I stored it. And now it's full of action figures and toys that's been sitting up there for a good 8 years. I haven't touched it since. And so I'm going to spend this little time going through it, maybe make some videos, because I've recently made some videos of the Power of the Force line that I just happened to pull from my parents' house. So, boy, I sound like a nerd. But
exactly.
But it's just like, I'm going to go through these boxes and just kind of see what's in there. It's Star Wars action figures. It's old. I got like Crossbows and Catapults board game in there somewhere. I've got an original AT-AT. I've got a Power of the Force AT-AT. I got all these things that are just in boxes that I haven't seen in almost a decade. And then I got to figure out what am I going to do with it. But it'll be fun just to go through these and maybe make some short unboxing videos just to share with other people if they really care, and just do that.
Well, I saw you posted a picture of you opening a box, and you said it was like the Star Wars Rorschach test. Like it was, because I'm like, I see the Death Star trash compactor. I see a cloud car canopy. I also see, like, it was like, and you were like, it's weird how different people notice different things that any other person on the planet would not know. Like, why
it is whatever catches your eye. I got this one box full of just random stuff, from Soundwave to Triclops to even like I know that Corey's gonna correct me on this one, but these little animals that you can rub and you can sell for fire, water, or wood. I remember him talking about it a couple of years back, and it's all random toys. And I would just like to open up and say, okay, we're the first three things you see, and just it's curious what geeks and nerds will pick out and what really draws the eye.
Well, that's just like I said about that, and it was what got me was that cloud car canopy.
Yeah,
and it was upside down. Like only if you had that toy, you know what it is.
Yeah,
but it's just if you didn't, there's no way you'd guess in a million years what that is. But it's awesome. I can't wait to see what more you have coming out because
dude. I have been salivating over those boxes, those pictures on Instagram, man. Every time you pull a new one out, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I want to be beside you pulling them out.
I got 7 or 8 boxes in there, and I was supposed to get together with Anil and Steve and Jamie from the podcast, and we were just going to go through it. That was our plan actually this week or next week, and unfortunately, obviously it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it's just like I have this baggie full of just random pieces, and I was going to do as a contest, like name as many things as you can. Like it's so random. There's just to give you an idea, if you know Gargoyles, the cartoon show, there's an action figure part in there, and it's just like name these pieces. I was if you can name the most pieces, I'll give you I'll send out a prize or something like that. But it's just one of those little random things that I know geeks and nerds love. So.
Absolutely. So we're going to go around the horn. We're going to toss it to Rick. You've been flashing a bunch of comics in the background there. So what's been keeping your Star Wars busyness during this kind of social lockdown we got going on?
A lot of my Star Wars time is things that I do with my son. So Clone Wars drops, we watch it. Comic books come out, I'm usually telling him what's going on. My shop, as of this week, has been really good with, getting me I'm a variant collector for covers and stuff like that. So you guys can see kind of the chaos that's just outside of this little window, because over here there's a bunch of stuff and over there there's a bunch of stuff that I haven't really sorted and organized. So I'm really big on print for Star Wars. So I haven't read last week's books or this week's books yet, just kind of with all the craziness. But I was one of the lucky few that had an early copy of the Rise of Skywalker novelization. Oh. So I finished that a week, 10 days before it came out, and there was a lot of cool stuff in that. I was really iffy on the movie after the first viewing. I didn't really know how to feel about it. And the last time my son and I went to go see it at the end of January, we just had fun with it. And like my mind has kind of changed on the movie, and it's not worth nitpicking over as far as I'm concerned. I'm looking at it with the mindset that my son has. Again, he's 10, and like we're all roughly about the same age. So when Return of the Jedi came out, I was 5, and there was no, well, that doesn't make sense, and Ewoks should have 4, they should blink. Like that, it didn't matter. So after the last viewing, we sat we were the last 2 in the theater. Everybody else left, and we stayed through the credits, and we stood up and we were in the aisle, kind of slowly making our way down and just kind of seeing whatever names are in the credits and listening to the music. And it dawned on me that like this is the last time I'm going to see my childhood heroes on a screen, and I couldn't help it. And it was like, I had some sweaty eyes for a second. And my son said, he was like, "Dad, what's wrong? You're crying." And I was like, "I just love Star Wars. I just love everything about it." And I couldn't, besides, critical nitpicks, I'm not concerned. I wasn't so much concerned about it in the moment. It was just something that I was doing for fun with him, and I'm good with the story as it is. And then, reading the book and everything extra that came out with that, all the little extra material that they either added in or just filled in blanks, was really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But Rick, well, like you were your story about when you were mentioning watching the last time we're watching this saga on the big screen, and maybe we'll touch on that first as far as one of our main topics. So Rob X, Rise of Skywalker, we are literally very like we're the OT guys. We saw it as kids.
Did you see it in a movie theater the first time?
No, I saw it in a drive-in with my parents.
A drive-in with your parents. You were there.
That was me, yeah. Fan. So though everybody at home playing the TSW Round Table drinking game, I saw Star Wars, wasn't A New Hope, Star Wars in a drive-in in 1977 with my parents, yes. So
the first real fan, I may add. Am I
probably,
correct?
Yeah, guaranteed, yeah. First real, well, I don't know. I don't want to say real.
Stephen Colbert.
Yes. So Rob, this is me personally. When I saw it, it was kind of like, and again, the digital download just came out. I don't know if everybody on this roundtables has purchased it or had a chance to rewatch it at home. And I just saw it again, and I'm like, from the comfort of my own couch, I'm like, despite what everybody says, and like, of course, everybody can nitpick about little certain things. I was like, man, I really love Star Wars. Like this is so cool. You know what I mean? Like, so Rob X, what do you?
Yes.
Our saga finished again.
Yeah. Again, I guess I was spent after the last time it ended after episode 3, and then this is just a nice little surprise having this 7, 8, and 9 come out. So when it finished, I was okay with it. It's fine. It wasn't. It's the Star Wars. I'm sorry. I'm just going to sound nerdy. Sorry, not nerdy, but sound a little bit. I don't mean to come off whiny because it really isn't. It's not my Star Wars anymore. This Star Wars, it was great. I enjoyed all the last 3 episodes. Lots of fun. I really enjoyed Solo, but when it comes to the prequel or the sequels, I really enjoyed it. But I had come to terms with the fact that this is not directed towards me, but I can still enjoy it. They still give me little things. Oh, there's Wedge. Oh, there's this. Oh, there's that. That's great. I love it. But when it ended, I was happy with it. It's good because I know that Star Wars is going to continue on from there. I have not purchased the digital. I haven't purchased the last 3 movies. Last 5 movies, including Rogue One. I haven't purchased it because it's just, you want to talk about original. I spent so much money buying the original trilogy, like 15 different bloody times, because George Lucas wanted to put Jabba in there or a droid in there or McClunky in there, and it's just like, it's just like he keeps changing things, and I've been spent, so he's gotten enough on my money. I even bought the original trilogy on Blu-ray. It's just I'm not Star Wars'd out, but I'm out of money when it comes to spending so much money on the movie. I got streaming now. I'll watch it when it comes streaming. I'm enjoying Mandalorian right now. I'm enjoying Clone Wars. Those are great. I don't feel I have to keep spending money because my money is precious to me now. Single dad, and it's just don't have a place to live right now. So it's just like my money. You're not George Lucas. You got enough money. You don't need my money, kind of thing. Disney. You don't need my money. But at the same time, going back to what you're saying, I went on a rant. Sorry, I've been trapped in this house. It's just
it's fine. You only got like a week left.
Yeah, only a week left. But it's just, I enjoyed Skywalker. It was a lot of fun. I went in there with open eyes and just tell me a story. I'm not going to bitch at you. Just show me what you got, and I'm going to probably enjoy it. And I did. And I was satisfied. I was happy. I went to the last movie by myself, unfortunately. We were supposed to go with everybody else, but we didn't. And it was fine by myself. It was just... I was around other people who were enjoying it, and other quiet, polite Canadians who don't say anything or don't clap or anything like that. But like I said, it was great. I'm happy. Let's see what you got now. So
excellent. And Tim, before I throw it to you, I'm going to just touch on it because you were mentioning this is not your Star Wars. Like, it's not made for us. Like, again, they have the Easter eggs in there, which are great. And again, when we saw Wedge, fantastic, all this stuff. This is something I've noticed with this sequel trilogy for the people that maybe not Tim and Rick's age, but the really younger audience, the people that were kids when the prequels came out, were like, say, like, I was like 4 or 5, like when the OT started. So the kids that were the same age when the prequels came out, they really grew up on the prequels and they loved it. And I've actually heard a lot of them don't like the sequel trilogy. And again, they're like ironic. I call them the ironic generation because they're like, oh, the sequel, that's not my Star Wars. And then not in Rob's way where it's like, yes, we've just grown up. They're like, oh, that's not what I wanted. So that's not mine. It's almost like what we heard a lot of the OT guys when the prequels came out. It's like, oh, that's not my Star Wars. OT forever, whatever. And now you have the next generation that were kids during the prequels are like looking at the sequels going, oh, that's not my Star Wars. And I'm watching this online, and I stay out of it when online, but I'm watching this going, oh, this sounds very familiar. It's like I've done this like 20 years ago. What's going on? Like, this is really strange. So, Tim, jump into your Rise of Skywalker, but also if you can kind of comment on that phenomenon that's happening. Like, I guess if you're 5 and this thing comes out, again, I love them all, so it doesn't bother me, but maybe, I don't know, some people just, whatever you're born into, that trilogy is your trilogy.
Well, and that's it, right? You want to own something, and that's fair that, there's a OT generation, a prequel generation, and now a sequel generation. And speaking from, I would consider myself an every fan. I don't have, sure, there's films I like better than others, and there's certain issues I have with particular parts of the sequel trilogy, the prequels, and even parts of the OT that are they're fantastic films, but they're by no means like perfect cinema. But when I look at it objectively, I'm like, hey, these are movies. You have the choice to watch these. If you don't like the sequel trilogy, that's cool. Just be on your way and you can watch OT and prequel. I personally really enjoyed the sequel trilogy for what it was. Sure, would I have liked a few different threads pulled a different way? Yeah, but these guys are creatives. These guys are paid to make films, and they were entertaining. The Force Awakens was one hell of an experience. When seeing that, 10 years out from Revenge of the Sith, I'm kind of in a weird space when it comes to Star Wars. I was kind of born and grew up in the 90s when there wasn't a whole bunch of Star Wars on film. Yeah, I had the OT, had to wait till I was, early teens before the prequels came out and Star Wars kind of ramped back up. And then I went into university towards the end of that, and my mind was elsewhere when Revenge of the Sith came out.
Yeah, you didn't have that, oh, I got to get that action figure Star Wars experience because you were too late. You weren't here during the OT, and you're a little old by the time.
Yeah, well, I was 15 when Phantom Menace came out.
Yeah. So, and again, granted, you were still collecting figures. You were still hiding them under your bed with other stuff.
Yeah. There's little boxes for different things, right? There's
different shape. It depends your mood.
And action figures, there's a point in my life when I was just like, action figures aren't something I talk about. And then by Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, I'm late high school, early university, when it's like, it's pretty far from my mind at this point.
Yeah. Sorry. I just had this image of teenage Tim reaching under his mattress to grab something and then ends up with like Jar Jar and like,
Maul.
Yeah. Oh, Darth Maul. Oh, you'll do.
It's probably all right. Yeah, I can see it. So I have this like weird gap in my action figures. I go up to the Phantom Menace. And then when I was in university, I kind of picked it back up near my third year where Revenge of the Sith came out and all that. And so I have a stack of Revenge of the Sith figures, and then it disappeared for me for years. And it wasn't until the hype of The Force Awakens that it really started to amp up. When I got podcasting, I met all you guys. I started really collecting. That's when I met Troy and Sanjay, and everything just kind of skyrocketed from there. And I think a lot of people had that experience. And to be honest with you, Force Awakens, Rogue One, even Last Jedi, I have issues with it, but they're all fantastically made films.
Yes, of course.
From a Star Wars perspective. And come on, like half the stuff I got back there is from the sequel trilogy. And now coming from the lens of my daughter, who is 5, she'll be 6 later this year, I'm starting to show her stuff like Clone Wars, Rebels, but she absolutely loves The Force Awakens. She loves Rey. And this is the first time for me that I've had that experience of when there's a little girl seeing through her eyes, the hero is a female. Like, she doesn't really connect with Anakin. She doesn't really connect with Luke. But when she sees Rey, it's like an explosion in her brain, and she projects herself exactly to that. And so it's really awesome seeing that they've put that female protagonist in the space, kind of put her up. And now my daughter feels like she has her own Star Wars. And that's the thing I love about the sequel trilogy is now her growing up. This is her generation, her Star Wars. Yep. Her growing up into that, she can project herself into it and find herself loving Rey. Like she dresses up as Rey, and we go to cons and we do all this. And so I can see from like this broad spectrum of whether it's OT, prequel, sequel, comics, whatever, there's something for everyone. You don't have to like everything. Nope. I never read any of the old extended universe stuff, and I don't read everything now, but I like and I choose what I want to do. And The Rise of Skywalker, the first thing I said, I want a Star Wars experience. You know, it doesn't like that's what I got, you know, coming off the back of Avengers Endgame, which was the best cinematic experience I've ever had. And that's just because of the people in the theater. No, and then going to Rise of Skywalker, I went with 20 people, 20 friends.
Jesus.
We started at Rise of Skywalker or Force Awakens. We saw Last Jedi, and we finished it off here. So we had this tradition going at Christmas time, all of us, you know, a few beers, hit the theater, and just have an experience. That's what I wanted, and it delivered on that.
Yep.
And yeah, sure, you know, we review movies, we nitpick sometimes, we pull things apart, we have preferences, we see things that maybe could have been strung through a little better. But at the end of the day, it was a Star Wars experience, and that's what I wanted of it, and it delivered on that.
I hear you say the same thing about DC all the time.
I want a DC experience.
yeah, I know. That's an inside joke. What I should just real quick jump in here. Matthew Gilbert from Australia, he jumps in. He says, "Hey folks, hope you're all well. Watched episode 9 for the first time since the cinemas and had a blast despite its frustrations." Mike McDonald, part of the Commonwealth, he says, "Greetings from Belle Riviere." Oh, there we go. Sorry. It's not exactly French, but, you know, when you see Belle, you kind of have to. Dave also chiming in from Twitter. He's old enough to have seen all of them in the theaters. He just, and I just don't get the haters of any of them. Yeah, correct, Dave. I agree 100%.
Haters are people who are, I equate haters to people who are still not grown up yet. They're not mature enough, and they're not confident in themselves to accept others' different opinions. Yep. It is okay to not like something, but I see it like I'm a teacher, and the same behavior that I hear about on Twitter or wherever, the people that complain or whine or threaten even is the same immature behavior you have from kids who are just learning how to grow, how mature. It's prepubescent. But the difference is, I think a lot of the time is the kids I teach have a chance of maturing. These a lot of people online are at a state right now where it's just like, I just don't feel they're confident in themselves as a person. Yeah. And they need to find their tribe because they don't have a tribe. I know I don't know if that's getting psychological, but it's just, I see the same behavior. The same kids that went, like when our school took everybody to see Force Awakens, the entire school to see Force Awakens, there was still the one kid who would run through the hallway screaming out, "Solo is dead. Solo is dead. Han Solo is dead." And it's just like, who are you trying to impress? And it's a kid trying to find acceptance or a laugh or some sort of tribe. And I can't hate the kid because he's still learning.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of like, even though Rob, you'll agree with this, I'm quite sure. Michael Jackson Thriller album came out in the 80s, and it was the biggest thing ever.
I know where you're going with this.
It wasn't cool to admit, if you were like myself, who was a Motley Crue, shout at the devil.
Yeah,
I had to wear that badge of I don't like Michael Jackson. That's not for me. I'm a metalhead. But wow, that Billie Jean, that's some catchy crap right there. That's unbelievable. Like,
I remember how much I hated Michael Jackson just for the sheer fact that I needed to hate Michael Jackson.
Yep.
Don't know why. I just hate, and I need to hate him because probably some kid liked him or something like that.
Because it wasn't cool for a guy our age.
New Kids on the Block. You just pick somebody. Justin Bieber, if you want to talk about 10 years ago, 8 years ago or something like that. Yet still, these guys sell millions and millions and millions of dollars. Somebody must like them. I mean, whether it's still your taste, there is something there.
And again,
you don't have to like it.
Yeah, and we didn't know Michael all the other stuff. Like he was.
Yeah, put that aside.
Yeah, put that aside. Just we're talking about his music.
Yes,
that Thriller album is outstanding, front to back. Like it's a masterpiece. But we could never admit such a thing back in the day because we'd be called all sorts of homophobic names and all sorts of stuff. So
here's a little Canadiana for you. Sorry, Rick. And probably only you and me are going to get this, Rob. But Switchback, if you remember Switchback on CBC. I don't know if Tim does this, but Switchback on CBC, they were talking about Michael Jackson, and then Much Music. We're like, I think it was Switchback or Much Music. We're going to air the first Thriller video, and there was warnings and everything, and we're all getting excited. And it's just like, and I hated Michael Jackson, but I was there to watch that damn video.
Yeah, it was a theatrical release, but on Much Music. Well, that's a Canadian thing too. Anyway, we're going off on a tangent.
Terry David Mulligan. That's all.
The whole point of this rant is to say. The whole point of the rant is to say there are people that poo-poo Star Wars because it is the coolest thing on the planet at the moment. 100%. You mean whenever there's a new movie coming out, and they have to be that yin to the yang. They have it deep inside, and that's what we're comparing our youth to. So I'm going to throw it back. Thank you, Rick, for being patient. You're unfortunately you're on with 3 Canadian podcasters, and we're not leaving you a whole lot of room here on the show. But you are the knight of the Commonwealth. You spoke so beautifully about your final viewing in the cinema with Rise of Skywalker. So now that that's done, and you have kids, and you're saying you're enjoying this stuff with your son. Is the new Disney streaming, like, the Mando and with the new Clone Wars and all stuff? Is this enough to keep it going for you, or to keep it up with your kids?
Well, it's just my son, but
okay,
yes, yeah, because he's into other stuff as much. Maybe I've failed as a parent that he doesn't only love Star Wars, but he's into, Pokemon, and he plays Minecraft, and, we got him a Switch for his birthday. So he's playing, Mario Kart and stuff, but
his own man.
Yeah, of course, and I want him to be, just so long as he doesn't hate the things that I like, I guess. I don't know. But no, he's, what we get is enough. In regards to the things that I experienced just with him. I mean, we spent, last year was just like a flood of information from the beginning of the year until the movie came out. It was like every other day there was some new bit of news or behind the scenes or an announcement of something or a date or a new book, whatever it was. There was always something to talk about. And it was so exciting to be a fan in the last year leading up to the release of the movie, because there was a lot to talk about. It kept podcasters talking. It kept my son and I talking about some of this stuff. And I look at it now in hindsight, and as fun as it was and as exciting as it was, especially having Celebration here in Chicago last year, looking at it afterwards, it's almost like, man, we kind of almost got too much, because we got used to seeing or hearing about every little bit of minutia that goes into the behind the scenes or what's coming and what expectations are there, to the point where now things have slowed down. We're like, oh man, what are we going to do? Well, we talk about our fandom. That's what we should be doing one way or another. But I'm at the point now where I kind of don't want to know everything that's going on, because again, looking at it in hindsight, it kind of sullies the experience, because it builds up an expectation that you realistically, nothing is going to live up to it if you're that hyped up for it. When you look at certain segments of fandom, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, but when you find yourself aligned with a group that falls in line with a certain expectation, and then the movie makers decide that that's not exactly what they want to do, you're going to be let down. Or if you have a favorite character in these new movies that you expect something grand and big to happen for that one character, and it doesn't happen because the filmmakers decide not to go that route, you're going to be let down. It's like when your favorite band goes on tour. We all have our musical taste, and You go to see them play, it gets to the end of the show, and you're thinking, man, that was great. But there's that one B-side that they never released, and it was a thing, and I wish they would have played it, and then they didn't. You're so hyped up for the experience catering to you in a way that it can realistically, in terms of what you're getting. You're getting a story that, yeah, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But the idea that like everything was so amped up all year long last year, leading up to, like I said, before the movie came out, and even before The Mandalorian came out, there was all of this hype and build up. Better up to it, and Mando was good, but there were a couple of episodes that didn't jive with everybody. You have to take it like, and again, as us, we're all adult, straight males. Everybody's experiences are going to be different, but you have to temper your expectations to a degree so that whatever you do get, you know, you can say, okay, cool. I liked it. I didn't like it. And to give you an example, we got the first Clone Wars episode with Ahsoka yesterday. And as much as I love Ahsoka and the news that we got yesterday concerning, if we want to get into it, potential casting, rumored casting, for Mando season 2, I didn't really care for the Clone Wars episode that we got. You know, there wasn't a lot there, you know, with the Bad Batch came in and it was fun and it was entertaining and it was a lot of pew pew and, you know, we're blowing stuff up and we're saving Echo. We knew that was the crux of the story from the beginning. Yesterday's Ahsoka episode, which I'm glad she's back. I'm so happy to see her in new content again, but the episode didn't really hit for me. And again, I'm okay with that because I knew what my mindset was, that my expectations.
Yeah, and you're a mature person.
I didn't go into it like, oh, she's going to come in, lightsabers flailing like, you know, like Grievous, and she's going to be taken down. Like, no, that's not what the story is going to be. But again, what we did get was fun, but it's not like, well, they ruined Ahsoka. They really,
no,
you know, Dave Filoni ruined my 30s.
Anybody poo-pooing the recent Ahsoka episode is, I think what it's coming from is, we know we have a very finite amount of these episodes left forever. You know what I mean? So every one of them we want to count. So if they don't quite hit with you, or it's like, oh, that didn't move along where I wanted. Like, again, it's hard to, we're not getting mad at fandom. We're not getting mad at the online community. It's just, we understand when people love these characters so much, and it's like we know we only have a little bit left. And then it was the same reaction with Luke with the sequel trilogy. It's like, oh, everybody loves Luke, and if they didn't land the way they didn't play him the way they wanted, it's like it's not like they're mad. It's just disappointed. Like, I mean, it's like you only got a finite time left.
But there was a lot of anger.
Yeah, no, I completely, Rick, I completely understand what you're saying there. Just a real quick note: we have Grabs and Rez. We have Grabs and Rez on the chat, which and they're having a conversation about Neonum. So if you're noticing,
yeah.
So if you notice in the chat window, we got some listeners that are just like on their own.
I have a reveal. I have a live reveal for Grabs.
Okay,
can we do that?
Yeah, yes. You can do whatever you want. Sure.
If Grab's still on the chat, I got a live reveal.
Grab it for Grabs.
This is a quarantine reveal because this is supposed to go in the mail, but given circumstances, I'm going to wait. So give me 6 seconds.
6 seconds. Okay, you're counting down. I think I know. Here we go. Live reveal.
So I've been meaning to send this for a little bit of time, but you know, given current circumstances, given that we're live, we've got Grabs in the chat here. I've got something for him that will end up in the mail.
Oh, yay! And for those
he's going to lick it before he sends it to you.
Yes, and for those that are listening and are listening after the fact, Tim, please tell us what you have there for Grabs.
We've got a Neonum EB Games exclusive, EB GameStop, whatever exclusive here. And Grabs, our dude, you know, he's a listener in the Nerd Room, that always interacting with us.
Sir Grabs,
he's a big fan. Sir Grabs, yes, he's a big fan of Neonum. And I got this years ago, and I just did a self purge here, getting rid of a lot of stuff. And I said to myself, there's one dude that needs this.
Yeah.
And that's Grabs.
There you
go. Hashtag Neonum lives.
Libs, this is all yours, buddy. Once
there he is, Grabs. He just chimed in. Thank you so much, and he's very excited. Yes,
you'll get that probably sometime in next May.
whenever we're allowed to send stuff via
next May.
So, or maybe. Do you think? Okay, here's a question. I got a question. Sort of to
no,
derail.
Go right ahead,
Rob.
Yes, sir.
Do you other Rob?
Yes,
actually, both Robs because
we're the same person. Why not? We're
more or less same name, same person. Give or take 3 letters, Tim, Rob, whatever. Do you think that we are going to be able to go to Celebration, or do you think that's going to get nixed this year?
Wow. Okay. Well, first of all, for me, it's not looking good. I had a family Disney cruise planned literally the 2 weeks before Celebration. And it would it's not we're not world travelers. It was just happened to line up that way. I was actually worried because the cruise was booked, and I was worried, Celebration is coming in August. What if the Celebration is during the cruise? I'm like, then I'm going to have to miss. Yeah, again. Anyway, it was just it's stupid first world problems, right? So, but yeah, I just literally canceled in the steps to canceling my Disney cruise because it involves a lot of other family members, and I'm not canceling my hotel room or anything yet because I still have that.
No need.
Still have that little hope that it's still going to happen, but I'm not. If it's for the safety of everybody, I'll be disappointed, but I won't be upset. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I we're the same way. We're supposed to be on a Disney cruise and a Disney World trip in 2 weeks in April, mid-April, and that's not happening. And I'm thinking we're looking at Celebration. We had planned to also go to Disneyland there. My family was going to come down with and all that. And end of August, and I don't know if I wouldn't be surprised if we hear in the next 2 weeks that Celebration's pushed for a year or something like that.
I think the first shoe to drop will be we lost a D23, and I think the next one will be San Diego Comic-Con, and then if that goes, the other domino will fall.
San Diego Comic-Con is gone. I think. Yeah. I think these big venued, big gatherings are going to be nixed probably till sometime in 2021. I just don't think that there's going to be the risk taken on the part of any of the organizers to put something and put that many people that close into a room, into a giant forum of some sort, and exposing how many. And so it's an unfortunate thing. I've been thinking about that a lot. About I missed Celebration in Chicago for very good things. We had a baby and all that, and Rick ended up taking my tickets, which was awesome, and he ended up hooking me up with the exclusives and all that. So it all worked out for everyone. But this one, it was like, I remember when I bought the tickets and Rob said, all right, Tim, you're going, but just stay away from your wife around, I don't know, December.
I think my exact words were stay off your wife in December so you can go to Celebration. If that,
your words, not mine. I don't know if she's watching, but your words, not mine.
Those are my words, and I apologize to everybody. But we're all adults here. Let's be real. Yeah. So, and again, so that's just it. So, and well done,
Preposition
Tim.
Makes a big deal.
Yeah. Well done, Tim. You managed to.
I did it.
You didn't do it.
I don't like.
But then the world is halfway to ending now. So
maybe exactly. But then again, these things are, I guess, the way they're supposed to be. Rob X, what are your Tim was throwing it out. What are your thoughts? Not looking good, I don't think, or.
Yeah, well, a lot happens. It's only been a week since we've had to deal with the major part, at least in Canada. It's been a week since we've really gone hardcore on dealing with what's been going on. A lot happens, but when I hear the news talking about the new normal, and I don't think this is the new normal, I think this is just it is what it is at the moment. I have a feeling Celebration will be canceled. But I don't think we'll hear it until maybe the way you explained it, Tim, I think that's the best way, because I think they go in order. They don't want to cancel right now. It's too far ahead because there's still, as they say in Star Wars, there's still hope. Yeah. But I think it is false hope, because as everybody here has probably been to a con, and con flu is a real thing, whether it's an actual flu or not.
Con crud, yeah.
Yeah, it's a real thing. You do interact with a lot of people. And so I'm really disappointed because I was planning on going with this one. I still am collecting money, saving money for it. But I have a feeling this is going to be canceled. And I'm accepting of that. That's just the way it goes. I need to focus on bigger things right now. So
yeah. And okay, so Rick, last year almost exactly at this time, we're just like a few weeks shy of the 1 year anniversary. Star Wars Celebration fell in your backyard. Like,
yeah,
what was that like? That would be like having a celebration for me that lands in Toronto. Like, it'd be like, oh, is this? It's close enough. Like, this is weird. So, what was that like? You like Star Wars came to your house.
Celebration being here was about the most, well, excluding what's happening right now, probably the most surreal thing that I could think of. And when the announcement came out in 2018, it was like, I saw it on Facebook and just scrolled past it because it never seemed like it was going to be a reality. And then one of my cousins sent me a text and was like, have you seen this? And I was at my son's Taekwondo class with him and was like, what who? And I called my son's instructor out because she's a big Star Wars fan too. And I was like, you need to see this. And she's like, what is going on? And I'm like, Star Wars Celebration next year. And so she freaked out and ran and put it on her calendar right away. And when it happened, with Tim's poor planning and baby making, we he could not go. And I offered to graciously accept his ticket to go to Celebration. And
as you should,
it came up and I was like, I'll give you face value, I'll give you extra. And he said, no, just give me some of the exclusives and we'll work it out. And I said, great. And then there was adding to all of that excitement, there was Tim sent me a message saying, hey, it's in the mail. It should be there by X date. And I was like, okay, great. And I hadn't told my boss that I was going to call off of work, that Thursday and Friday, probably not Thursday, but just Friday, because that was the episode 9 panel. And the tickets had not come in. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell him I'm going to take the day off if they're not here. I didn't want to lose out on the day. So, it ended up, Thursday rolls around and I'm starting to see pictures and, everybody's hanging out already. And that Thursday night, my son and I went out and we had dinner with David and Nathan and Sam from Tattooing Sons. We went out, we had pizza with him and a couple other people with the professor of positivity himself, Neil. He came out and met us and we had pizza. It was great. We had a good time, just chatting up, our favorites and what we expect and stuff. And the next day was the episode 9 panel. And again, the passes hadn't come in the mail yet. So I went to work and I ended up on my lunch break watching the episode 9 panel. And probably about a half an hour after that, my wife texted me and she said, the package has arrived. And it was like, oh, thank God. And so Saturday, we already had tickets for Saturday to go anyway, the three of us. And so we went and I ended up giving my 1 day pass to another guy that I had talked to online who he had a ticket for himself and he found one for his mom, but he didn't have one for his dad. And they just wanted to come for the day. And I said, listen, meet me outside of the arena at about X time. You can just have my 1 day, whatever, have fun. So we got there Saturday in time for a for a Jedi Fallen Order panel. We saw that. It was such a whirlwind that whole weekend of, making sure that I got the exclusives for Tim and then subsequently for myself, but trying to catch up with people. I don't think I went to a single panel the entire weekend. I think everything about that was just hanging out with people and talking and we're all friends, but we've never been face to face or shook hands or things like that. But I know when the day,
no shaking hands.
No, you know what I mean? I'm not, I stopped licking my palms a long time ago. So
Right. Well, actually, Rick, what you're saying there is absolutely true. It's very strange. You were there. I was there all weekend. We've still never met face to face.
Right.
Because what people don't understand is, and you guys, Tim and Rob, you guys remember Ben from the Skyhoppers.
Mm-hmm.
We saw each other. He was coming down an escalator. It was like from a rom-com. And I'm like, Ben! And he's like, because I do that when I see him, because his name's Ben, and you have to do the Han Solo Ben. Anyway, and he comes down and he kind of recognizes me, and because he's a growing boy. He's changed a little bit since Celebration Orlando. Anyway, big hugs, and then a Skyhopper listener sees him and then jumps in, and he kind of hijacks our conversation. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it, Ben. We're gonna meet up for a meal. And it just never happened. And I had one thing after another. And then finally, the last day on the Monday, I'm like, we're going to meet for lunch. And then I had an autograph signing with Greg Proops. And they bumped that back over lunchtime. And it was just like, I never got to see him the rest of the con.
Yeah.
And it wasn't we're trying to avoid each other. It's
insanity.
It's crazy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And again, when's the next time I'm going to be in Chicago? I don't know. Probably. Not that I know, but it's just one of those things. It's really hard, but it's interesting to hear that reaction to Celebration just landed in my backyard. This is crazy.
Yeah, it was a crazy weekend, and being there and hanging out with all the different people that we met. The only big panels that I did go to, like I said, was that Full in Order panel, and then Monday morning, I went to the Phantom Menace panel with Michael Morrissey, who's now writing like Star Wars Adventure comics and stuff like that. We met the week prior at a book signing and stuff. So we've stayed in touch and stuff. So it was great. And Tim, I haven't said this to you so that you can hear it with your own ears. Thank you for those. I know I've told you and I typed it out, but that's one of those things that, I like I said, if I would have gone beforehand, it would have just been one day. And, being able to go, the 3 days that I did and hook up with the people that I did who are now going to be lifelong friends. I mean, I owe you a debt of gratitude. And I know it was just a circumstantial thing because, your daughter was born around that time. But, I joke and say, well, the trade-off was I went and you got a baby, but it was a lot of fun and I owe you. So thank you.
Well, no, and the thing that's awesome too is that you paid it forward. You handed off your 1 day pass, and that's what I love about the community that we're all part of, right? And that's to me the biggest thing that's come into Star Wars fandom for me personally since really The Force Awakens is this big community. And you mentioned, Rob, none of us have ever met each other, but we're in the DMs talking almost every day. We podcast together, we talk, we share different things. We all understand what each other's likes. When something weird like a Pez thing pops up, Rick tags me in it, or he tags Sanjay in something, and, just random stuff. Rob's tagging me in all this stuff that he's posting on Instagram with all the Power of the Force and Phantom Menace stuff. And so I have this really close community that we're all a part of now. And I didn't have that before. And so the ability to hand off those tickets to someone that I would know was going to enjoy it. It's like sending something to a good home. You want someone that's going to enjoy it, take advantage of it, and just go crazy with it. And then on top of that, you hooked me up with the Phantom Menace 2 exclusive figures. And the celebration before that, Rob down in Orlando hooked me up with the X-Wing Luke.
If I only known how much he would have been, I would. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, if only, right?
No. My thing is when I see these things, I just want to save them from eBay. You know what I mean? I just scalpers. If I can get in line, if I have an exclusive lottery winner, whatever the case is, and I can snatch it and get it to someone that's going to really appreciate it, that just can't make the trip for whatever reason, that makes me all the more happier. And also too, I'd be really remiss if I didn't mention our good friend Steve Kirk. He was
right there. That's where the X-Wing Luke is, right there.
There he is. Yeah. Steve Kirk. He was the most generous guy out of
100%
out of all of us. And he lived to make these little, these little things like for, whether it was an X-Wing Luke or a poster or something, he lived for making everybody's little tiny dreams come true. And so I
have Yeah, I have to comment on that too, man. That guy was an absolute gem. Rest in peace, Steve. He had been to numerous cons, and he sent me over 2 years exclusive from San Diego Comic-Con, exclusive Iron Man Mark 1 Funko Pop. He sent me this gorgeous Ryan Man. Actually, I'm gonna show it off here. See that art right there? This thing right here that's framed.
Yep.
This is Steve Kirk. It's all of Ryan Meandering, who's the concept artist for the MCU. It's all his concept art for Captain America from the first Avenger right through to Infinity War. Absolutely beautiful pieces, autographed. He sends it up to me. He says, "You have to have this." I didn't know what it was. I said, "Dude, let me pay you whatever." And he says, "I don't want anything." And it was the same thing with the Funko Pop. And I'll tell you guys this too. After talking to him, before his passing, he had bought 4 tickets to Star Wars Celebration, and he had only planned on using 4 4-day passes. He had only planned on using 1. He had planned on giving away 3 others. That's the type of guy he was. He wanted to give other people the experience. He wanted to fly people out. You guys paid for, who was it that you guys that came out?
Oh, we had a night. There was Steven, and again, it's one of those. Steve, we're just fortunate enough that we were able to sponsor somebody to come.
Exactly, it was amazing.
But it was completely. Again, we're not getting into it here. It was just one of those things that he approached me, and I'm like, it was just something I could have done, and something he did, and we were able to get a whole bunch of people in on it. It was really great, and
that's a community, man. That's
exactly
that's what it's about. It's about having those experiences. It comes back to what we're talking about. Sitting Rise of Skywalker or going to Celebration, whatever. It's about the community, but the experiences that we've all been able to have over the last couple of years, and even Rob X, as we call him, the promotion you did with the coins and all that.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely fantastic, and I know that was supported by the community and all that, selling them off and in support of the Children's Foundation out there in BC, and just unreal that there's that type of work going on within the community and able to give back. We did the toy drive this year that Rob gave toys to, so it's unreal, and that's the thing I love the most about Star Wars. Almost, I love the films and all that, but all of this that's come out of it is,
it's the positive community, and
exactly.
And Rick, you were mentioning Mr. Positivity himself, Neil Lowry. I got to meet him in Chicago too. We actually presented him with the 2019 Star Wars Commonwealth Positivity Award. And it was one of those. It's just so awesome. But anyway, our community, for those not in the know, if they're getting real tired of a lot of negativity, the Star Wars Commonwealth, we've discussed this off mic, that pushing forward, we want to be, if you love what you love, and we cover all the bases here. We have people into the comics, into legends, into all the different niche, all the TV shows, all the movies, all the
collecting.
We have a 501st member. We have a astromech builder. We have anything you want. We have it ready for you. But to end, I'm going to throw it to you. I know, Rob, you're looking at saying something, but we're going to go a little bit longer on this episode, but I would be remiss if I didn't. 2019 was a big year for myself and my Vancouver or my BC counterpart. You became officially, for those following along, a 501st member, I think in 2019, right? It was a year ago?
Last year, yeah.
And in November, I came up in the rear, much to your inspiration. I'm an official astromech builder because I built an R2D2, and you know, and the only reason I'm saying that, I'm not trying to.
I wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing. There's a joke about 2 sentences back that Roman podcast would have really picked up on.
Oh yeah, I know. I know. So
it's a different.
I'm aware of that. Yeah. But again, a couple years of 3 years in the making. So congratulations, and now you've had a year under your belt. So I'm going to ask you, while we're going to end this show just on trooping and what that does.
Over that right shoulder of Rob there too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
got my bucket. I tried to put it on, but I couldn't get the microphone on and stuff like that. So, Sorry, I apologize. The question was
well,
again.
no, it just you've had this whole ongoing saga. 501st Rookie.
Yeah.
Everybody can follow the videos. Everybody can catch you online. Everybody can see your and you've had setbacks throughout that time. And again, I feel you because I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I have a job. I have a lot of responsibilities, but I had this R2, like your armor, being built over the last 2.5 years. And now in 2019, we cross that finish line. Now, again, armor and R2s are never 100% done. They're always 99% done. We get them presentable. So how was that like? You crossed the finish line. Now you're in the 501st and you're trooping, right. And now you've been to a few cons. And so was it everything you hoped? Kind of like.
Well, first of all, it's funny because on my shoulder is the bucket, but behind that is my boot, which is broken. And so I have to fix that. So it's as you were saying, it's a never ending work piece of work. But it's been a year. And when I did the last video, when I thought it was the last video of my very first troop in Victoria, and blubbering and like all over it, I thought that was going to be it. But then, I at least it for the videos. But I decided that I was watching people like Alaska Vader, who is Darth Vader in Alaska. If it
we got that
clear enough for you. I watched his vlogs, and I really enjoyed watching his vlogs and how he would just show what he did as a troop. And I was like, you know what? This is a lot of fun. I can do this as well. And I did a little bit of that just after my first troop, and I was kind of doing things like that, but they were kind of long to edit, long to watch. Sorry, everybody. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to do short vlogs of Outer Rim Rookie and just kind of, here's what I'm doing today. Here's what I'm doing here. Here's what I'm doing there. And it got a lot of positive response, and not just from my friends in the Outer Rim Garrison, but also I had people contacting me contacting me and saying, you know what, I'm inspired now. I want to do this. And I was able to meet, like, for example, Terry from one of my last videos. He came to the Fan Expo from Kamloops, and that's a long way away. It's a few hours drive. It's not a day trip. And he came down to do trooping, and he was inspired by Terry Chu, my partner of the Rim Rookie. He was inspired by me and his own inspiration as well. And it was nice to meet him and nice to keep in contact. You talk about community. You're building this community of people who want to do this for good. I mean, all the things that you guys have been talking about, supporting somebody, staying in line and getting a figure for this guy, raising money for these people. This is what we should be doing as a normal human community of people.
100%.
And this is what I like about the positive part of Star Wars. This is the stuff that I focus on. I ignore all that BS that's online, and I focus on I make my own positivity and that's why I guess again Neil is just an awesome dude. This is what the Outer Rim Rookie has been able to do for me. I've been able to reach out to other people, teach other people. I don't have a lot of followers or viewers, and I don't give a crap about that as long as I get to the ones that need to hear the message. I want people to understand this is what I do. This is how we help community. This is how we can help others. And especially in times like this, when you see people who are the most vulnerable having to seclude themselves while others just kind of go to the beach and party. And it's just like, you're missing the point. You're missing the point of those who need help. This is not about you. So going back to what you're saying, Rob, doing this for a whole year and really meeting kids who needed help and meeting adults who have kids that need help and just meeting adults who need help or need an outlet or need to give back. I don't know how to give back. I don't know how to break this feeling of emptiness. I don't know how to do something. I need to fulfill my life with something. And that's how I got into it. I need to be more fulfilled. And this has given me such a level of happiness and fulfillment that is only second next to the birth of my son. And it's just like, I feel so positive about life when I'm in that bucket and helping others. And it's tough because right now we're not allowed to do this. It was tough not trooping, and we had a whole line of things going on. And it's tough not to do that because it's not just tough for me because I'm missing out, but there are charities that need this help. There are people that need money for support, and they're not getting it right now.
Yep.
And I know we have to figure out what is more important. And yes, this is making sure that people who are vulnerable right now are safe, but it's just like
it's a bummer. It is a bummer. Not just, and I hear you. I was supposed to be right now at Toronto Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
As well, not, yeah, it was supposed to be.
Oh, moly.
But yeah, and that was, I was all set up and I was getting the exhibitor pass, and here we go. Like, it's just a different thing. And again, I'm the astromech builder, like I mentioned earlier. I finished my R2 in November, and Rob, he is gorgeous. He loves
beautiful.
And what the people don't realize is when you're a 501st member or part of the Rebels or an astromech builder, when they meet. When you got on a real authentic armor, or you got a real authentic droid, people, it's like they're meeting that person they've been watching on the screen. I took mine when I first finished mine. I took it out to my local mall, and I took it early Sunday morning before the mall opened, with all the mall walkers, just to kind of give them a test run out in the public. And then the mall opened, and it took me hours to get out because everybody was taking selfies with my R2. Like, he's this little celebrity. And there was a young lady, she was 20 if she was a day, and she was almost in tears. And she's like, I can't believe I almost called in sick today, because she was working at one of the hair salons. And she's like, this is the best thing ever. It's like she was meeting R2. And I'm like, I'm controlling them, right? But anyway, but I didn't ruin them.
Kenny Baker isn't inside of this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, but it's the joy that it brings people. And not to mention, like you said, Rob, all the money that's raised through these outfits is just, it's nothing but positive. And it's been, I just wanted to mention at the end of this show, because when you've done a lot of episodes, even on your Generation X-Wing, and you're talking about, you get that part in the mail, and then you got to paint it, but you got to make a cut, and it's like you only got really one shot at it, and it's like I have to just close my eyes and do it because you can't practice doing it. It's like one of those things, and I was following along right with you, and when you made that final push, I'm like, I got to get mine done too. And anyway, that final awesome.
That final push brought me out of a lot of negative feelings, negative thoughts, negative emotions. We all have things that go on in our lives, and there was a whole period of time where nothing was being done, and it was just because life got in the way, and it got me out of that.
Yep.
It got me out of falling into areas that I didn't want to get into, and so it's inspiring when you're doing something good. And then, like the last con we did, we were $2 and a nickel short of $10,000 for charity, 2 different charities. And it's just like, and all we were doing was in costume. People wanted to take a picture of us or shoot me in the head with a Nerf gun. Yep. That was it. That's all we had.
Punching baby Yoda.
For punching baby Yoda, yes.
And it's just a lot of fun. So
if there's something that I can say, kind of where we're at right now, we talk about how we as, a bunch of nerds who 30, 40 years ago wouldn't have congregated in the same way, probably, looking at the grander scheme of everything that's happening right now with the world. I had mentioned this on Blue Harvest on their latest show. And happy birthday, Hawes Burkhart. Today's his birthday. But the idea that, Star Wars thematically from episode 1 into episode 9 starts off with this idea of a symbiosis, how two things need each other to coexist. And in the end, whether you like the idea or not, there's this idea of a dyad of two peoples coming together to face a larger enemy or whatever it is. We're at a point now in the larger human history kind of scale of things where we're being told to not come together. We're being told to stay apart because it's a matter of public health. And things that we do as a fandom, talking online to other people or taking a little bit of time to put out a podcast as a distraction for things is a way to maybe help people say, like, listen, we're going to get through all of this. It's not easy. And yes, charities need financial backing, and they need to see faces in places to put smiles on the faces of people who need it, or not falling into the whims of a negative media cycle or whatever is out there. Having something like Star Wars to have that larger theme of, like I said, symbiosis and this connecting, also has that theme of hope. We're running all the way through it, and we're living in a very weird, scary time right now. And
yeah, we are.
For everything that's going on, if we can do this for an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes to help try to take people's minds off of things and do away with the stresses of what's becoming a normal everyday life, at least temporarily, that's kind of what people need. And, I'm glad to be able to have the community that we have, and not just the Star Wars Commonwealth, but Star Wars fandom in general.
Yes.
The friends that we've made over the last couple of years, so that behind the scenes in DMs or in phone calls or FaceTimes or whatever you're doing, you can talk to people who might be feeling a little anxious right now about what's happening. And that's having this social networking platform where we don't have to be in the same room to share our concerns. And for us specifically, it would not have happened if it wasn't for Star Wars or general nerddom that, again, we grew up where maybe we got picked on for liking a thing a little too long, or we were reading comic books at a time when it wasn't cool, or whatever the case was. Now we have a platform where it's kind of like, the hell with that. We can be nerds, but also be humans and take the time to say, like, hey, we're going to be all right. Your family's great. Thanks for that thing. You made me feel great after you said the thing, whatever it is. And for my part, I like the idea of being able to tune into a show and have it kind of, in a weird kind of posterity to say that, like, man, it's a little window into the time that we were living in. And I'm grateful for this right now. So thank you, Mr. Cast, for putting this together. Even we've talked about, having other shows, going on, unrelated to just current events. But I love this. I love that, we can do something like this.
My pleasure. And more to that point, this is exactly what the roundtable was all about. It was about it was a chance for me to put my foot in the Star Wars podcasting door, which I wanted desperately, but I didn't want to undertake the whole publishing because I have that going on. But secondly, it was wanting to get Knights of the Commonwealth, and we don't like to say fans. We're all listeners and we're all friends. Like, no one's a fan of the other guy. It's just weird. But we like to have our listeners come on with us and get a chance to podcast and see what it's like, and talk to other people we're literally in your ears every week for half an hour. And it's kind of cool. We've had lots of people on this show that were nervous coming on for the first time, and then they went off and started their own podcast. There's a few of them out there and they're still going. It's for me, it's weird. It's like, kind of like, oh, did we plant that seed? Well, no, but we can kind of take credit for it, right? That's where they, but yeah, I agree with you 100%. And you know what? We couldn't end it any better. I'm really glad we have this community. I'm glad we get to all hang out, because for Rob X and I, if we were hanging out with you guys in the 80s, it'd be weird. Just because we are a little bit older than you are. So I'm glad that we've all met now, because, it's just,
Are we still using phrasing?
Yes.
Okay.
So
space phrasing.
Yeah. But, and again, for everybody that's jumped in on the chat, everybody that's watching now, and anybody that's listening in the future when this drops on the Talk Star Wars feed, thanks for hanging out. We're going to do a few more of these depending on how long this self-quarantining and stuff goes on. But, I just want to mention, I'm sure for all four of us here, like, just, we're all around, slide into our DMs, and I'm not being weird. It just, if you just want to hang out, cool. Like, we're all over the world. So somebody's always up, right? Like somebody's always going to be there to answer.
Hey, you up?
Yeah. It was up.
Disney Plus and chill.
Disney Plus and chill. Well, okay. You know what? On that note, I'm going to swing her.
Chill.
I'm going to swing her.
Frozen. So.
Rick ended it so nicely, and then
and then I'm off the rails.
Yeah, off the rails. So I'm going to start with Rick. We're going to go around the horn. If anybody wants to, slide into your DMs or just catch you on Twitter, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me personally at Cat Bane's Bounty. You can also listen to me once a month or so, chatting it up with Kyle on Tumbling Saber.
The other show,
yeah. Show called Cannon Pod. We've got one planned to record at the end of this month. It should be a lot of fun. Yes, the other show that was named by a super cool and handsome guy, me. And nice. I am also every once in a while showing up on a show called the Drunken Menace podcast, and which is a lot of fun. So that's where
apparently working for the Techno Union by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No, and believe me, this for the round table, this is dicey at best. And again, for all the round table listeners, they know audio quality. We're literally every show is different. It's not like the three of us are getting together next week and doing the same thing. It's one of those things that gets set up. Rob X, Generation X-Wing. I know Trooping's on hold for a little bit, but tell us about all your good stuff that you got going on online.
So you can find my podcast, Generation X-Wing, anywhere we listen to podcasts, Star Wars Commonwealth Network. You can also we have a YouTube channel where it's mostly me doing videos, but I'm the Outer Rim Rookie. You can find on our Generation X-Wing YouTube page. And it's just, again, information about the 501st, how to join, how to build a Scout Trooper costume, and what I do on a typical troop or prepare for a troop, or just the life of a 501st member. The Generation X-Wing podcast also has two other 501st members as well, Steve 3 and Jamie Palerider. So if you have any questions, you can contact one of us three. And then, of course, Neil Sharma is our other co-host, and we're trying to push him into joining as well. He'd make a great Lando or a Wilro Hood. Other than that, though, the YouTube channel's hopefully going to have some more stuff. We got episodes coming out hopefully every week. We're going to be podcasting via Skype and stuff like that now, so it's going to be a little bit new for us next little while. But we're just going to have a lot of fun. We talk Star Wars as well as other 1980s and 90s fun stuff. I think I don't know when this is coming out, but I think we're going to be doing Top Gun and Jamie's hosting an episode, which is going to be really cool too. Yeah, so he's been talking about hosting. So he did a Generation X-Wing GXW versus trivia contest just a couple weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, there you go. And obviously Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that great stuff.
Awesome, Tim. Where can people find you and listen to you?
Yeah, you can find me every Thursday at the Nerd RM. That's on Twitter, and we got our episodes that drop the Nerd Room podcast every single Thursday. We're transitioning a bit here from we usually do in-person stuff. You can see behind me for those in the video. That's our table where the four of us, myself, Sanjay, Troy, and Carlos, hit the mics to talk about Star Wars, Marvel, and DC. With the news and all that kind of dwindling out here over the next few weeks, we're going to transition a bit into looking back at some movies and that, TV shows, figure collecting and all that. We're all big collectors here, kind of an eclectic mix of individuals at the mic every single week with varying opinions and all that. So we have an absolute blast there, and we'd appreciate you guys. Come check us out if you haven't already, and you can find Instagram or Twitter at the NerdRM. And I think Rob is just volunteered there to give me all of his Power of the Force and Phantom Menace figures.
I'm on it. Yeah, I'll link every one of them for you.
So yeah, you can check us out there. And we're always talking Star Wars, Marvel, and DC, and we're always hanging out on Twitter here, hashtag Twitter gang and all that, hashtag We the Nerd. And so that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Myself, you can find myself. I am at Robert MMcast on Twitter and on Instagram. Also too on Instagram, or sometimes on, not very much on Twitter, but mostly on Instagram. I've started the hashtag RobsR2. And basically what I'm doing, I'm not doing a video series like Rob X, but I'm kind of, if you follow hashtag RobsR2, I just started it. There's not a whole lot up there yet. Whenever somebody meets my R2 and takes a picture with them, a selfie, which happens a lot, But for those that put it online, and they can use that hashtag, and that way I can kind of see, hopefully in the next few years, I'll be able to look back at hashtag Rob's R2 and see, my the adventures my R2's been on.
Is that letter R number 2 or the word R2?
No, it's Rob's ROBS R and then 2.
Oh, excellent.
Numeric 2. Yeah. So anyway, check that out if you want. Again, I have a weekly show, the Roman Podcast. It is not Star Wars, and it's a certain required taste, but it's not for kids. Let's just say
lots of phrasing.
Tons of phrasing and innuendo and all sorts of stuff. So, but my good buddy Roman and I, we've been doing it. We just put out 208 episodes straight without missing a week.
That is hard to do.
For those podcasters out there,
that is hard to do.
When we crossed that 200, it was like just such a relief. Now it's like, it's almost like we got that Cal Ripken thing. It's like, how long are we going to go?
It's crazy. Like we've for 4 years never missed a week. Now we haven't had an episodic release. It's been if we can, a review goes in or whatever, but it's a ton of work, man.
It is.
It's admirable. You guys made it there too.
And you guys appreciate it. Exactly. It's one of those things. So, but anyway, check that out. If you're following this live stream on Twitter, we're jumping on my Roman Podcast Twitter feed to do this because this is kind of a special COVID-19 thing. They said, and I had all the stuff set up for Roman and I. So I warned Roman earlier. I'm like, I'm jumping on our feed. So we're going to do some nerdy Star Wars stuff.
Suck it up, Roman.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't like it, too bad. Like, this is happening. So check me out there. Don't forget, Rob Wade, the guy at Talk Star Wars that makes all this happen. He lets me the Admiral. He lets me piggyback on the Talk Star Wars feed to bring you the round table, and I'm forever appreciative of that. And don't forget to check out Emotionally 14. I know the Nerd Room's sponsored by them. Rome Podcast is sponsored by them. Talk Star Wars, of course, and a whole bunch of other great shows. Be sure to check out emotionally14.com and it's the numeric 14.com and check out all the good stuff they have there. So, until next time, hey, you might get one real soon if we're still in lockdown because we got nothing else better to do. So for Rick, finally, we got you on the round table. Thanks so much. And of course, Rob and Tim, thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
And we'll everybody just, hang with us and stay safe. And we'll catch you next time. So later.
Cheers.